Yeah, look, they pulled up okay. Obviously, there's a few tired bodies, but yeah, everyone's okay and obviously ready to be sort of selected for Sunday's game. But we need to treat it day by day just to see how things are, and how the boys pull up each day as it goes by.
Is Jamie McLaren available for selection after his suspension?
Yes, he's available. So Jamie's obviously been just doing some extra training due to the circumstance of the red card, but he's available for selection on Sunday.
And Curtis Good was a notable absentee on Wednesday evening. Is he still in quarantine? Has he come out of quarantine? Is he available?
Curtis obviously wasn't selected for the last game. As you know, with his virus, sometimes it affects different people in different ways. And Curtis has maybe needed an extra rest than others. Again, it's sort of the unknown. I'm not a doctor, as you know, but sometimes the virus affects people in different ways, and one of them's Curtis. So we just have to play that day by day and see how he is and how his conditions are. But look, he's out of quarantine and all that sort of stuff. But we just have to monitor him, see how he goes day by day.
Now, with the benefit of hindsight, Paddy, how did you assess your boys' performance on Wednesday night, taking into account all the challenges that there were?
Yeah, I thought we were great in terms of the way we, physically and mentally prepared. Again, we had chances to score. We didn't. It is what it is. We can't change that now. But what I'm really pleased with is the attitude given, especially with the circumstances that we faced, the areas that we got the ball into, and the actual desire and drive to keep pushing the game. And like I said, it went for 120 minutes. So there's a lot of positives that came out of the other game. The result is the result. It's a flip of a coin at the end of the day when you bring it into the penalties. Sometimes you miss, sometimes you score. You can't change that. But I think for the 90 or 120 minutes before the penalties, I thought we played some really, really good stuff.
There's been a bit of talk on social media after that game, noting that Matthew Leckie didn't take a penalty. Would have thought former Socceroos captain would have stepped up to take one. Why didn't he take one?
Oh, it was just one of those in terms of numbers. Whoever we felt like, again, we sort of delivered and say, whoever is comfortable and take one. And Matthew put his hand up, but obviously it didn't get to him in that number. So, but yeah, he would have taken one. Obviously if it kept going into down the rank, but he was on there to take one.
And looking ahead to Sunday, PK, you mentioned the other night you'd started the video analysis on the Wanderers. What have you seen? What do you need to do to get a win?
I think we need to concentrate on ourselves first, and not worry too much about the opposition in terms of the way they are. Look, we need to worry about what we do in our processes we follow that's suitable for Sunday's game.
There's been a lot of talk about the Wanderers, about Cole Robinson's tenure as coach there. Is that something for you to consider heading in, that you might be coming up against a very desperate Wanderers side that even more so, know they have to get a win?
Look, that stuff is, that's none of my business. I can't control what happens at other teams and stuff like that. My main concern is, what we do here and what I can control here. The other stuff, again, it's none of my business, and I don't pay attention to that.
And just also, PK, well known that you like to push the boys very hard in training when you can. You like to make them run a bit. Have you had to adjust that a little as of late because of all the recovery? It's just been mostly massage and recovery,
yeah.
and trying to push them as hard as you can.
Look, I think for me, it's the unknown. And when it's the unknown, you sort of, you have to adapt a bit, and that's what we've done, and that's why I was so happy with the players the other day, because it was the unknown and they pushed their limits. So, look, we have to manage it, as you say, day by day. I don't know, how they will pull up tomorrow. I don't know how they'll pull up next week. That's why it's really important to take it on a day-to-day basis.
Do you feel as though this is making you a better coach, having to adjust to all of this?
I think it's everyone around the world, not just me. You got to think on the spot. That the hard thing is it's the medical condition where I didn't really finish school, so in that way I don't really know. But it's knowing the individual medically. It's out of my league. That's why it's so hard to know exactly what happens, physically with the player. But you just got to judge it as you see it, and if they're okay, they're okay. But I know for personal in the way we're here, I know we have to adapt and treat it on its merit.
So I guess you talked about having to play 120 minutes on Wednesday night. Off the back of 2.5 weeks postponement, how difficult is it to manage that during the game to make sure that no one's overworked, knowing that you've got a fixture coming up again in a few days' time?
Look, to be honest with you, you actually don't know. So you sort of you give the responsibility on the player, and you got to trust their feel. So again, if they're okay, they're okay. If they put their hand up, then you trust them and you try and take them off. And that was basically what we sort of handled on the other day. There was sort of Andy was always coming off and Pucha at that time. But like end of the day with the others, you sort of had to give them responsibility, and if they were okay, they could go through it. If they weren't, we had to take them off, and that's what we did.
Fair enough. With all the postponements going on, as well as City's Champions League commitments coming up towards the middle of the year, it looks like there could be a situation where it's going to be a lot of 3 games every 7 days, midweek, trying to slot everything in. How do you prepare for that sort of scenario, given that it's something that's really unfamiliar to Australian football? Or is it just simply one game at a time, game by game?
As a player, I could say I did it in England, so it was pretty much you play, rest, train one day, play. As a coach, it's the unknown for myself. It's the unknown for the team. So it is literally day by day, because again we are unfamiliar with circumstances like this, but we do our best. We try our best, but it's a day by day scenario.
Yeah, and Joey mentioned the Wanderers coming up. The fixture was originally scheduled to be against MacArthur on Sunday. What's it like having opponent changes on a few days' notice? Obviously, you guys were preparing for the Phoenix when the announcement was made, so it wouldn't have been too bad. But how difficult is it to have to change on a few days' notice?
Yeah, it was MacArthur, then it was Brisbane, then it was back to the Wanderers. Look, it is what it is. I can't change it. Again, I use this word. We've got to adapt, because we have to. We have no choice. So we do our best in that scenario, and we try and. It's hard to sort of plan in advance, because, like you say, things change. So again, the game's changed to Western Sydney, so we adapt, and we have to prepare for Western Sydney. If it's a day's notice, it's a day's notice. If it's a couple of days' notice, we can't do anything about that. We just try our best to prepare for any game that comes up.
Yeah. Just going back to the cup fixture for a second, something just popped into my head. When I was watching that, I noticed that in the shootout, most of the players basically shot bottom right. That was for both teams. From the City side of things, is that down to the individual players where they choose to shoot the penalty, or is that like a coaching philosophy? How does that work?
It's on the player. I don't tell the player that they have to shoot any side. End of the day, it's one of the things where they take responsibility, and again, I support them in that. It's hard to take a penalty under those conditions. So, my respect is to the players that take it, because it's a difficult situation. but they choose where they want to, hit the ball. Again, on a flip of a coin, some go in and some don't. And also credit to the keepers when they save them. So it's just one of those things. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for us, and we move on. And I admire the players that took responsibility to take those penalties.
How was Jamo after the game, knowing that he missed two?
Yeah, he's okay. It happens. Unfortunately, in this industry, things like that happens. You don't plan it, you don't want it. And him being our captain, he wants to lead by example. But for me, him stepping up shows why he's our captain. Regardless of what happened. With the missing of the penalties. Again, I will support him. I'll back him. At the end of the day, that he chose to do that. And again, in the grand final it goes in. This time it doesn't. Okay, we move on and we push forward to the game on Sunday.